All right, so you're about to join my friends here out in Colorado, journeying through Kansas out to Kansas City in their first ever road trip in their first ever EV, their Volkswagen ID.4. So they started their trip in Denver, and you'll join them in progress here on the way, stopping at the I-70 diner in Flagler, which is a very popular spot along the busy I-70 corridor, which goes from Denver out to Kansas City and beyond.
Yay!
All right, so I recently talked to my friends and convinced them to actually take some video of a big road trip that they recently took from Denver, Colorado, all the way out to Kansas City in their first ever EV road trip in their ID.4 that they recently got. So join us here and you get to experience what it's like for a first-time EV driver heading out on a long road trip with several charging stops along the way.
All right, here we are. We just made it to Flagler, and these are our stats right now. 21%, 53 miles. So we lowered our
21%.
Lowered our mileage to 65 miles an hour to make sure we made it here.
You made it.
And here we are.
I-70 diner, raining in Colorado. Who would have thought?
And we're gonna get out and charge now.
Yay! When are you at?
We're at Charger 2.
Are you still recording?
I'm recording.
Okay.
Plug in first.
So this is a mistake I made when I first did it. The very first time I charged, I was so obsessed, I didn't realize there were two of these, and I kept putting my phone here. That's the phone to pay it. If you have an account, or like with us,
A charging
if you
plan.
have a charging plan, you charge it here, not here. So you want to always do it here, not here. The very first time I got charged $15 but then they gave it back to me because I was charging it here, not here. So always, if you have a plan, that's where you want to go. And they said you can either, through my phone, I can either swipe it here or I could start it in the app.
You should be able to plug in first and then do it in the app.
Plug
right?
in first?
That's what it says.
Wait. Plug in first and swipe to start.
Yeah.
Okay, here. Oops. Alright.
So you're on
Heavier.
Charger 2,
Charge it 2.
plug 1.
Oh my gosh! It's so much heavier. Okay. Swipe to start charge. Wait, come on. Processing payment. Initiating charge.
Connecting the vehicle.
Do it. Looks so cold.
It's a little chilly out here. It's raining. So we have 350 up. Okay, it seems we had an issue with the app and we retried it. The car connected. Rebecca swiped her phone over here. And now we are initiating charging. And there we go. That's me and my plan. And we heard a noise. That's good.
Oh, green.
We have a green light here. That's good. And hopefully we should get a status here on the screen. Should I hit continue? Or maybe I'll let it go. Thank you for choosing. There we go. So yeah, we're at 21%. Currently charging at 96 kilowatts. And there we go. We've got 0.6 delivered already. So we're gonna go across the street, use the restroom. I'm gonna put on another jacket because it's cold, and we'll see you in half an hour. Okay, so we are now charging. We're at I-70 diner in the rain and fog and cold. It's 46 degrees.
Cold.
We're charging. We are at 121 miles, 40%. Yep. 5 miles a minute right now. We're at 83 kilowatts. 84. That's all right. I was hoping it'd be up to like a little higher since it's up to 350 kilowatts. per hour. I'm hoping this would
Oh,
be
that is interesting.
would go a little bit higher than 80.
All right, so one important thing to note here is that the max charging speed is determined much more by the car than it is by the charger in DC fast charging situations. The car itself, in many different cases, is what is going to limit how much power you can actually take, especially out of these high-powered 350 kilowatt chargers. So there really are not very many cars out right now that can actually take full advantage of 350 kilowatt charging, and that is why they're seeing much slower charging rates here. So the way that this works is there's two main factors that go into your charging rates. There's the voltage that your car can accept, and there is the amperage. And so voltage is largely determined by what's called the pack voltage of the battery pack in the car. And right now, there is a lot of variance around these. Like, these are not just two totally discrete categorizations, but essentially cars are generally either at a 400 volt or an 800 volt architecture. And that means that they cannot accept more than that. And the inverter on the car itself that is used for charging is only capable of raising the battery levels to that voltage, which means it can only accept that much voltage through the cables. So that is one theoretical maximum, or not even, that is one realistic maximum of what can be accepted, which means that amperage is then the other determining factor. And so amperage is where you'll see the most volatility and where the speeds themselves are generally going to shift, because voltage itself doesn't change tremendously between the car being fully depleted and at 100%. Whereas amperage can go all the way from 0 to many hundreds of amps. And so many of the chargers that we've actually got right now cannot go up to incredibly high amperage. And so what you're basically doing is just multiplying the amperage by the voltage to determine, and that gives you the kilowatts that is being accepted. So for here example, in the ID.4, it is a 400 volt car, and they are only getting much smaller amperage here, probably because the batteries are either cold or might even be hot from lengthy driving, which means that they can accept less current. And that's why they're only getting like in the 60 to 90 kilowatt range. But for the ID.4 overall, the maximum that can really ever accept is only in the like 150 to 170 kilowatt range, because of the architecture of the batteries and limitations on amperage. So this is one very confusing thing for new EV drivers, that even though the station itself says that it can go up to 350 kilowatts, the car itself actually can't. So there's really no point in even using the 350 kilowatt charger on an ID.4. You should probably use the 150 because you're going to max out below that anyway. But in a case where they're all empty, you might as well use the faster one, which are generally better maintained anyway.
But
We're already at 49% when we stopped here just a couple minutes ago.
So we're more than halfway
Yeah.
of what we were.
Look at that. So interesting. So because we're trying to get to 100%, look how long it's going to take to get the full 100%. Because once it gets past 80, it takes so much longer to charge.
Yeah, it says that so in our app, we've set the charging to 100% instead of 80 for a road trip. And so on our screen, it's telling us that if we wait here until 9:46 at night, it will finally be at 100% charged. So I don't think we're going to do that.
I don't think we're going to wait to 100.
Yeah, we're going to, hopefully, we're at 50% now.
Yeah.
It's 110 miles to our next destination, so we're hoping to get to 80%. And then, not use, hopefully not use as much battery as we just did for 140 miles.
Yeah. We met a guy who was driving, what was that, Nissan Leaf?
Leaf with Raiders
All over
decals
it.
all over.
And he was driving from Portland, Oregon to Detroit. And he gave us some tips because he said he charges all the time. He also, he said going 50 miles per hour is like the best way to get the most mileage. Out here it's 75 miles per hour, so you're going pretty slow if you're going 50. But I mean, we saw that was proof. As soon as we dropped down the mileage, like we didn't have to worry about, as soon as we dropped our speed, our mileage went right back to life. And he also said, so it's raining, and he said, and I'm definitely going to have to see the truth of this, that when it's raining, EVs lose 13% of their charging, of their mileage because it's slipping of tires. So I'm going to look that up more, but I thought that was interesting. He like went around here, found something, pulled over, and told us So let us know.
Yeah. So what you didn't see too, when we got into the car a little bit ago, behind you on our dash is a light lighting up green. It's not doing it right now, but when you're charging, sometimes it lights up green across.
It's pretty neat.
And then, so it'll be lit up green, let's say to 54% where it's charged, and then the rest up to 100 will be blinking green, like going like this, and a radiating light. And it's pretty cool, telling you that it's charging and it's going. So, all right, so we're here. We've been here just over half an hour, and we're up to 80%, 199 miles, and that range is 200, based off of our previous usage. So I'm sure if we do a little bit better on our speed, then we'll get a bit better mileage, of course. So here we can charge it. We've set it to 100, but we're at 80%. If we keep charging to 100, like we said before, it was going to be like 9:45 we would be here. Now it says 8 o'clock, but still we don't want to be here forever. So we have 110 miles to our next destination. So with 200 miles range, we should be able to get there.
Fingers crossed.
81%. So yeah, Rebecca's going to drive now this next leg, and we're going to go unplug and stop our charging. So we can stop our charging here.
Stop charging.
Let's do it. So let's look at so we've stopped our charging session, and our grace period is 10 minutes. So we have 10 minutes, otherwise we get idle fees. So we're gonna unplug now. And so it looks like we got $3.09 charged because we were over our half an hour free session. So pretty good, I'll take it.
That's less than a gallon of gas.
That's awesome. And so a little, yeah, I think we're good. I was hoping to get more out of the 350 kilowatt, but here we are. So go ahead and Rebecca, drive.
All right, so we're about to run out of battery life on our GoPro. However, we got to Colby. We're doing free charging for some reason. Like, we have free charging, but it says our
Session was
complimentary. So I'm not mad about that. And it's cold here, and it's dark. And after this, we get to Hayes, to our hotel, and we're going to charge there. So that's it for tonight. The second leg went significantly better because there was a lot less panic. So,
good morning. It is 8:13. We're in Salina, which
Kansas.
Kansas.
Very exciting.
Currently charging. We started at 100. We got down to 58% roughly. Did really well. Only 100 miles. 106 or 10 miles from Hayes to here. So last night we charged to about 80%
in Hayes
before we went to bed around 12:30 or so, and now our range was about 141 miles or so. And this morning I woke up at 4:30 and got up and went to charge before leaving, from 80% to 100%, which only took 40 minutes, which was really nice. I thought it was going to take longer. Yeah, so I think going on the highway, we're not getting up to 240 miles at 80% because we're on the highway, we're using more energy, we're using more of the battery. But I also realized this morning, going to the charger, that we were automatically putting the gear into the regenerative braking mode, and while driving we were wondering if that takes away from the battery while you're driving, not using that regenerative braking mode, because braking. You're in cruise control on the highway, you're not braking unless you're going to brake if something happens on the highway.
Yes.
So you're not going to use that mode. So this morning I put it in that drive mode, not regenerative braking, and we got better mileage, better range, staying at 70 miles an hour, just cruising along. I was hoping the kilowatts would be a little higher.
What are the kilowatts?
It started, I believe, at 55 kilowatts. Yep.
So it could be faster, and we're using a 350?
350 kilowatt charger.
Interesting. I'm the only one here.
Right.
So it's not being sucked by someone else. But, I mean, better than 6. Don't get out of 6.
I don't think we'll get to 100%. Because we don't need to stay here for more than half an hour. because we'll get to Topeka, which is our next stop, in what, like an hour and a half, and we'll charge there. There's a Walmart, there's food, and
I need to be listening.
so yeah, we're doing well. So yeah, just some adjustments from from yesterday, from first driving. So far this morning, it's a little chilly, but it's not as bad as last night. So we've had the air off, so nothing major taking away from the battery. I'm willing to put on more air and use a little bit more energy in some of those settings if that's taking away from the battery.
So it looks like what we've discovered is that taking off regenerative braking, we also took off the lane assist. Those are two big ones with our mileage. Also, driving at 70 is a big factor of not eating away at our battery. So those were our big things. I think we can now, since we have kind of mapped out our next couple of stops, when we get closer to that stop, I kind of push it a little more to see, okay, can we hit 75 without tanking the battery? Now that we know we're in a safe range of getting there. So that's kind of where we are. So this is our very first road trip with this car, so we're not, you know, kind of like when you have a gas car and you know exactly when you need to get gas. We're not at that point yet, being comfortable with knowing. My three biggest fears were we were going to run out of charge. My next biggest fear was we were going to get to the charger and none of them would work. And my third biggest fear is we were going to get to the charger and they're all full. So far, none of those have happened, thankfully. Obviously, we were worried about running out of charging the most because it's not like a gas station where you can just pull in and get a charge. But luckily, there's a lot of ways to get around that. I feel like there are a lot of charges available. We were looking for Electrify America the most because that's free. However, if push came to shove, we were definitely able, if we needed to pay for charging, we could have done that. Second one, worrying about if you got to a charger and no chargers, they were all broken for some reason. None of them would take. I mean, that was a fear of mine just because we're just not used to it. We just don't know, like, what if all these are out? And we have run into a couple situations, like right now, the one right next to us is completely black. So of the 4 chargers here, one's completely black. One is a CHAdeMO, which, I mean, we technically could use the one to connect to the CHAdeMO, but it's kind of like a jerk move if a Leaf were to pull up and we're sitting here charging in a CHAdeMO, or one that could use a CHAdeMO. Also Chad. And the third one was concerned of if we got there and they were all full. And I had to think through that one. If they were all full, people would have to move their car anyway. So it's not like you're gonna have to wait there overnight for someone to move their car. And we haven't run into them being all full yet. I think we'd have more of a likelihood of running into ones all full where we live, as opposed to here. Where we live, there's a ton of electric cars. I see probably 10 to 15% of the cars around me, maybe even upwards of 20, are electric. On this road trip, we've seen significantly less because it's just not an electric car area where we are. And I just think that people are using electric cars more local to home. So those 3 fears were my biggest fears, and they're not coming to fruition. I will say something that both of us were kind of unexpected about this trip is how much longer it's taking. It was expected, but you think, okay, we're going to get there, it's going to be 30 minutes to charge, then we're back on the road. That's not really it. You have to plug in, you have to fuss a little bit more, and then you have to wait until you get to your battery percentage you want to get to. So it's more like 40 to 50 minutes.
Good morning, we're here in Topeka. And I think this is a brand new charging station.
There's no
because there are no lines and the car does not fit in the middle here, as you can see.
I think it's supposed to be parked this way.
Yeah.
But there's construction.
Right.
So
but there's construction fences.
We're making it work.
So we did this because
You want to get some 350?
why not?
Yeah. And once again, let the CHAdeMO free in case kind of traveling with a buddy who's in a Leaf. We don't want to block that for that person.
So the parking spaces you can see over here in Walmart are that way, but this is brand new, so
we're just kind of winging it.
yeah.
But I'm glad it's here.
Very glad it's here. Topeka at Walmart here. and we've got other commercial stuff and construction. So, how was the drive, Beck?
Oh, it was great. So, turning off regenerative braking, and I think finally the car got used to the speed we're traveling at, I was able to push it to 80 miles per hour and not lose too much. I mean, we got here still at what, 32, 34%. So it felt very comfortable traveling at 80 miles per hour. I feel like I didn't have to babysit it and have it go low. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with that leg. It feels like that was the best one we've had so far. Also, John took a great nap and I listened to more of Dracula. So I mean, overall good stuff.
I did, and we're charging at 82 kilowatts there. Pretty good.
There you go. So we have made it to our hotel here in Kansas City. And we are done driving for the day, ready to go to my brother and sister-in-law's wedding. And we just want to talk about the final leg and charging at the hotel. So the final leg was super easy. We had no problems. We got right in Kansas City. It felt like after that very first leg, at the very beginning of our trip, things got significantly easier. We really figured out how to use it, how to work with it. And yeah, do you want to talk about valet parking at the hotel?
Yeah, we got here and we were going to South Park, but we wanted to charge. I went with the valet. We unloaded our stuff. I went with them and plugged in the car and waited. I think it took 4 hours, maybe 5 at tops, to finish charging up to, I think, 90%. And then I had to tell the valets, I had to come back and say, hey, the car's done charging. Could you please move it up to their level?
Morning.
It's 8:15. We're on the road from leaving Kansas City, just charged in Topeka, and we're on our way to Salina to the next stop.
Got to start, what, at like 5:45 this morning?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock this morning, just so we can make sure to make time for all the charging stops we have to make, and if we have to go slower than the speed limit, so that we can get back to Denver at a reasonable time.
So yesterday we got a charger at the charge point station that they have set up at the stadiums.
Right in between Arrowhead Stadium and the Royal Stadium. I mean, there's what, 5 chargers there?
5.
I feel like, I mean, I guess at this point, but they were all full. So we got there, I think there were 3 left. By the time we left the gate, like, they were all full. So hopefully, I mean, as this becomes more popular, stadiums will have a larger charging area for chargers.
There are 5 others on the other side of Arrowhead Stadium, but these 5 were in between the stadium. So a total of 20 cars could charge, because there's 2 per charger. But we charged fully throughout the game. Then charging, it was a little slow at the start, like 40 kilowatts. So we switched chargers, and it was maybe about the same, maybe a little more, not much help. So that took a little longer, and then we stopped for breakfast and coffee. It took a little longer. So the hour-long leg at the start took 2 hours. It seems like the start of a trip always takes longer for some reason. I don't know why.
Gotta get going. Gotta get used to it. Yeah.
So
inertia. You know.
We're okay. We're doing all right, and we're headed to Salina.
Yep. Salina's next. Hopefully we're good on. We charged at 100% yesterday. The 90% this morning. When we stopped in Topeka. So we're on the way to Salina. About 82 miles left. 165 miles on the range. So we
to 78%, half an hour. I think the kilowatts went up to 90%, or 90 kilowatts for a couple seconds, and then dropped to 82, then slowly progressed down to about 40 when it stopped at 78% over a half an hour. I was hoping it would go a little higher and we would charge a little more, a little faster, but I guess that's how it's all calibrated and everything, so it's okay.
And one note on the Volkswagen ID.4's charging curve. So from tests that have been run, it has been found to be a fairly flat charging curve, which is actually very nice to have in road tripping situations. That means that you're not going to see a significant taper as you go from low states of charge up to high states of charge, like 80% plus. And so generally what that means is that peak power is available largely through that charging curve, whether you're down into like 0% all the way up to about 30, which is where it starts to tick down a little bit. And testing has found that that is generally in like the 120 kilowatt range. So about 127 to 128 seems to be the peak rate that has been found in testing there. And then around 30% that decreases down into around 100, maybe 90 or so kilowatts, which is what my friends here generally saw. And then around 80% state of charge, it'll get to about 65 kilowatts of power. And then over 80%, it drops quickly and fades below 50 kilowatts. So something to keep in mind as you're charging the car, if you really want to optimize, you want to go plug in at a low state of charge, like below 30%, because you'll see peak rates then. And you don't really want to be charging beyond around 70 to 80% if you can avoid it, because it's going to go down to less than half of that peak charging rate. And so it's just going to take much longer to go from 70 or 80% up to 100.
Yeah, I took a great nap, and John apparently went above 80 miles per hour. So we are clearly not being as, I don't want to use the word cautious, but I feel like we've learned the range, and we're getting more comfortable with how far we can go and how normal we can go between charges. So,
yeah.
would you agree?
Yeah, if we cost, but then it's zero at the end.
You're not gonna charge for any of it.
Yep.
So if that's
Get
the
charged
case,
for the charging.
you're gonna charge for the charging. That's the case, that'd be awesome. We're about to hit Colby. So that'll be another Walmart that we charged at on Friday. And we're gonna do another video of that one because we realized we haven't really gotten out and done any videos because we've been sleeping. Unfortunately, in Hayes, when we were there on Wednesday night, there was the most precious Siamese cat outside of our hotel room, and I spent the entire time that we were charging today trying to find that cat. I could not find that cat. Found a different cat, but I couldn't capture it. So I'm a little upset, but that's not the car's fault. But I did have the opportunity to try to find it since we had to charge. So let me go. Still positive.
Hello, we are in Colby. It's almost 2 o'clock.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
We got here about 20 minutes ago and started charging. Got down to about 25%.
John was going fast. He's going like
I was
80.
going a little fast. I wanted it to get here. And we're charging.
So
We're up, hooked up.
Walmart in Colby.
We're at, let's see if we can, if you can see that. We're at 62%. We started at 25%, 17 minutes, we're at 62. And yeah, there it is, 78 kilowatts, 28 and a half kilowatts delivered. That's pretty good, 17 minutes from 25% to 62. It started, if you can hear me, hopefully, it started at, let's go over here, 125 kilowatts, because we were down
Oh, it is loud.
at 25%. So it started, it gave us more juice because we were down so low
Yeah,
on the battery.
Over 100%.
And we also have a Rivian truck charging over here. Looks like they have a solar panel on the back of the Rivian. It's kind of cool. They're getting some extra juice from the sun, just like the sunflowers in Kansas.
Yeah.
So we may stay here a little longer than half an hour to get more of a charge, but we'll see.
Trying to get up to 90%. Is that the goal?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's only an hour and a half to the I-70 diner in Flagler, Colorado. And then it's 2 hours, our longest stretch today, from there to home. So we'll want to make sure it's 140 miles. So we want to make sure we get closer to 200 just to make sure we have extra and we're good.
Yeah. Luckily, though, from Flagler to home, just north of Denver, there's a lot of other charging stations. Like if we need to bail out and go to, unlike the opposite, where in Flagler there it was like that. There was only one. There wasn't like we'll just peel off a little bit early. It was we should be good though. It's not raining. It's nice out. It's gorgeous weather.
Yep, car's doing well.
Car's doing really well. Really handling very well.
Yeah, again,
happy with it?
In case you didn't know,
Pro
all-wheel
S.
drive, Pro S.
I wonder if that also has something to do with battery life, since we have 2 batteries for the all-wheel drive. You know, if it's because it's heavier. Curious.
It's possible.
Probably should do some more research on that.
It is heavier. I've heard we do have the 20-inch tires, so I've heard that your range doesn't go as high with those tires. More surface friction, whatever, something. So that could be something that would factor in. But so far we like it. We love the car, and we're doing well. So
it's awesome. It's such a great road trip car. I'm so glad we took the plunge and took this one instead of our gas one. I think it would have been easier, like mentally, to take the gas one. Obviously, it would have taken less time, so just gas and go. But it's so nice. And not only that, but you get more time to like stretch and make a trip out of it instead of just like a stressful day of driving. It's very relaxing. It's really nice.
All right. Good afternoon. We are on 70, heading west to I-70 diner. But the charging session was free. I didn't mention that on our last video. When we charged, it said complimentary charging session.
Not mad about that.
So we started at 25%, ended at 90%. I think it took us 40 minutes.
Got a little extra?
Arrive in Flagler, Colorado, I-70 diner around 3:45, which then we'll be in mountain time, so it'll be 2:45.
Yay.
And then we'll charge for We're in Flagler, I-70 Diner. We came here and charged. We're charging. We're at 78% now. I forget what we were when we started, but
Oh,
I don't know.
right below, right at
30?
No, maybe at 30.
Yeah.
That was good. We're at the I-70 Diner once again.
Which is
required.
closed on Mondays.
I'm very upset about that. I was really looking forward to like some diner food, but that's on us. Also, we were traveling today no matter what. But here we are, staring at the I-70 Diner. Did you have to pay for charging?
When? Now?
Yeah, or is it?
I don't remember.
Okay.
But we'll figure it out. I think we're going past
30 minutes.
We're going past 80% because we want to make sure we get home. We're at, it says 149 mile range and home is 140 miles, so it's a little close. So we're at 80% now. We want to make sure we charge, so we're going to charge
As much as we can.
hopefully to 90, maybe to 100. We'll see how long it's going to take as it slows down, as it gets higher, of course. Yeah, so we made it here and we saw our friends in the silver Rivian from Colby who were charging. They weren't charging. We thought they had a solar powered one little charger in the back of their car just sitting there charging. However, we found them here and we asked them, and he said it was actually Starlink, which is pretty cool.
Fancy.
They like the Rivian. It's their first, we talked to them, it's their first long road trip. They went to St. Louis on Wednesday and are coming back today. Same thing, kind of like we are.
Yeah.
And just stopping and charging.
Yeah.
Just a couple, and they're two little...
Adorable dogs. Like preciously beautiful dogs. Something else they mentioned, they're also, I was talking to them about how much the charging costs, and they were finding the same thing as us, that Electrify America was not charging them. They were just plugging in and it started charging. So they said, well, we feel bad, like, we're not getting charged, so like, oh, hope Electrify America figures it out. I mean, who knows? Maybe they're just doing a thing, or maybe it's just, who knows? But the Electrify America station next to us, there's three here. The fourth one is not working, and there's a guy who just pulled up to work on it. So
yeah,
who knows? They're still doing stuff. Yeah. And also something that's been really fun on this trip. Everyone that we've seen at Chargers, if we like get talking to them, they're so friendly. Everyone's just been like, hey, how's your experience? What tips do you have? Like, where are you coming from? Where are you going? How are you liking the drive so far? So it's kind of a cool little community that, really nice people. So
yeah.
That's where we're at.
Yep.
All right, well, with that, they arrived back to their home outside of Denver in the suburbs. Seemed like they had a great first road trip in their ID.4. Found a lot of things that were new and surprising to them, but generally seemed like they had an easy time figuring it out. Definitely still some things to learn there around the ways to optimize and what the true state of things in the world of EVs and charging are. Not everybody's going to be a super deep nerd on EVs like I am, and so there's a lot to learn with this. It's a very different paradigm for people that are not used to EVs, and so learning to optimize your charging rates, learning how to eke out that extra range and what things actually make a difference in that is certainly a difficult thing to find out. So glad to see they had a successful first road trip, and looking forward to many more to come with them. And I think if they would gladly say if they can do it, anybody can. And so I hope this encourages you to maybe take that deep dive and jump into the world of EVs, especially if you're someone who loves road trips like this. It's definitely doable, and you'll find that it isn't as inconvenient as you might think it might be. All right, well, with that, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to try to bring some other first-time EV content to the channel, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of that. If you have any questions about running your first road trip, or maybe even your second, third, fourth, fifth, or 100th in an EV, definitely let me know in the comments below, and I'll get back to you. With that, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.
See you later.
See you, Neri.
Bye.